for joining us. There you go. My name is Natalie. I am a youth service librarian at the Rosa Public Library, and I am co-chair of the summer reading program with Rachel. So what we're going to do today is give a present. Each one's going to give a presentation. So we're going to do 3, and then we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to do 4 afterwards. So we will start with Sharon.
Good morning, everyone. So good to see you, although I can't see any of you, but I know you're all there. Thank you so much for attending this virtual workshop. I can attest that the committee has worked very, very hard to come up with lots of great ideas for your summer programming. So I hope you see something that inspires you. I want to say that my part is never very exciting, but it's also a very important part of the workshop. I'm the one who kind of bugs you at the end of summer and into the fall for your summer reading statistics. And the reason why I need them is because I need them to justify the funding for this program, which comes out of the state library's library network funding. And there's a couple changes this year. For the first time, usually the state library gives a targeted grant to NJLA to be the sort of administrator, the financial administrator of the program. But we know just how busy NJLA has been. So for the first time in many, many years, where the state library will be administrating the grant in its entirety. It doesn't mean there's any changes for you, but you may not see the NJLA logo on materials. But I can't do it alone, so we still rely on this great committee to work with me, and most of the committee members are NJLA members. Now, you probably all know, because most of you have either asked me for the code for the summer reading manuals, or your directors have, or you may not know that you need the code, but you do need a code to access the online summer reading manuals. I say manuals, except it's really just one big manual in sections for different age categories. It used to be separate manuals. That is on the Collaborative Summer Library Program's website, because we are one of the states that is a member of CSLP. It's a national program, and we joined in 2004. Now, you may not know that we actually pay a membership fee for every library, but it's not a lot. We pay a flat fee, and then each library is about $2. So for every library in the state of New Jersey to be a member, it's less than $1,000. So it's a really good deal. But that entitles us to access to the online manual, to the artwork, and to any of the other resources that's on the CSLP website. And I don't know if you've looked there, but for other things aside from the online manual, but there's usually a PSA that you can use. The last few years, they've added additional resources to assist you in doing like grab and go programming. There are tabs that have information for working with diverse populations. We believe in EDI, so we want to make sure we have a lot of resources that are inclusive. And so that's part of our membership fee pays for all of that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that since 2017, we own the artwork. It used to be that we didn't. But since then, any of the artwork that you have, you can keep up. You can keep up on your website. You can keep it up anywhere where the public can see it. It's yours to keep. You can use it after this year. It's just from 2017. So since our theme this summer is Oceans of Possibility, some of you may have the manual going way back to Make a Splash when we did a water theme. You're welcome to use the programming information from that manual if you happen to still have it, but the artwork is proprietary, so you can't use any of that artwork. Now, I've been talking about the CSLP website a lot, but for all of you who managed to make your way to this workshop, you know that there is a New Jersey summer reading website as well. That has materials that's really only applicable really to us in New Jersey. That's where I put up the link to the summer reading statistics link, which usually goes up by August 15th on that website every year. And the statistics are due pretty early for the past few years in September, because New Jersey is part of a number of other states that are using the same survey. We've been trying to come up with one that can sort of standardize our answers so that we can use it in research to say, so many states, the statistics are just a lot more standard, because each state tends to do, or used to tend to do, kind of their own thing and count different things. But we're hoping that in the next few years, most of the states will be using the same survey. So look for that link sometime in summer so that you will be able to submit your statistics. The other thing that's on the New Jersey Summer Reading website is we have the information about all the programs and activities that we're doing today. So any of the handouts will be posted on the website afterwards. And we also have our own Pinterest page and Facebook pages. CSLP has theirs, but New Jersey, we try to, like, I'll post on Pinterest, maybe authors that are more applicable to New Jersey that go along with the theme. Let's see. I talked about the code. I talked about the evaluation. And I think the only thing I wanted to say, a couple of things that you may be aware that I order you incentives. Every library gets free incentives. You get a banner, a bookmark, and posters. Regardless of the fact if you did your summer reading program and sent in your statistics last year. I was kind of lenient in the last couple of years because I understand with the pandemic, things were very uncertain. But going forward, you won't be getting these incentives unless you do submit your statistics. So if you're unsure of where to submit them, or you don't see the link, or your library isn't doing a summer reading program for some reason, you might be I don't know, renovating, or there's just something that's happening, just let me know so I can make a note of that. The incentives have been shipped out, or at least they started shipping them out. And I know some libraries are just receiving them, yesterday, today. So look for them. I ordered them for individual libraries mostly, but if you're a part of the system, I just ordered, one big order, and the system gets the number of items, and then you then have to distribute them to your branches. They are shipped directly from CSLP, so the box will say CSLP on it. And the other thing I wanted to let you know is, I know some of you were very concerned because of the online summer reading registration software, tracking software that the state library contracted with 2 years ago. That contract is due to end at the end of April. And we are looking into additional databases that will include probably a summer reading tracking registration software. Don't know what it will be yet, but we realized there would have been a gap because we weren't really going to start that until probably September. So we were able to continue the contract with Read Squared until the end of September. So any of you who are using Read Squared can continue to use it for this summer. If you want to use Read Squared, let me know and I can send you a form that you need to fill out to register with them. And then after that, as soon as we know what software we might be getting, I'll be letting everybody know that. So I think that's it from me. Thank you so much. Enjoy the workshop.
Thank you, Sharon. 2 things before we actually start. I forgot to do introductions, and we're going to do that, as well as to let you know that the eval evaluation form is in the chat. The link is in there. If you don't get a chance to complete it before we all say goodbye, we can email it to you as well. So let us start. You know me, you know Sharon, and we'll start with Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm the Teen Services Librarian at the Bernards Township Library in Basking Ridge. I'm also a co-chair on the committee, and I think this is my second or third year on the committee. So I'm excited to share some ideas with you.
Hi,
you,
I'm
Rachel.
Jerry Tomaszewski. I'm a library assistant at the Rockaway Borough Public Library. This is my first year on the committee, and I hope you like what I have to show you later.
Heather.
Hi everyone, my name is Heather Christian. I am the Youth Services Librarian at Pennsauken Free Public Library, which is in South Jersey. This is my second year on the committee, and I'm also the secretary. And so I'm looking forward to sharing my ideas with you today.
Monica.
Hi, I'm Monica from the East Hanover Library, and this is my first year on the summer reading program. And I am looking forward to sharing my ideas for my program this summer. And I have a little sinus thing going on here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Suzanne Klein from the East Brunswick Public Library. This is my first year on the committee right now, but actually I was on it many, many years ago. So I'm happy to be back, and I have some fun ideas to share with you later.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gina Vaccaro. I'm the head of youth services at the Livingston Public Library. And like everybody else on this committee, I'm so excited to share my ideas with you.
Thank you. We also have Lisa O'Shaughnessy. I can never pronounce her last name correctly. Yeah. Who is from Summit, but she is not with us, but we do have her video. So we'll show her video after the break. So thank you everyone who is attending and who is watching. This will be recorded. So if you want, you're more than welcome to take notes. If not, like I said, this will be recorded. We can send it out to anyone who wants it. Just drop us a quick email and we will send you the link to it. Okay, so sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy all the fantastic ideas these ladies have. Rachel, take it away.
Thank you, Natalie. So as I said, I'm Rachel. I'm the Teen Services Librarian at the Bernards Township Library. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I have a few ideas to share with you today, starting with some decoration ideas. Because I'm really excited to decorate the library for oceans and oceans of possibilities and fish and stuff. So I have a couple of ideas. Excuse me while I suffer through my pile. So this is my little squid, but not anatomically correct squid or octopus friend, but it just gives you an idea. And I have to move it up. So it's just the paper chains that everyone likes to make. And I'm planning on doing a bigger version in our children's library. Our tab usually helps to decorate for summer reading. And we're gonna put a big squid on the wall in children's and have their arms and limbs kind of drapey. Like I said, it's not anatomically correct because I didn't plan correctly. I didn't use a big enough piece of paper. So keep that in mind if you try to do something like this. And you can put it on a bulletin board or anything like that. My next decoration idea is I changed it a little bit from the CSLP manual. They have a lantern jellyfish idea, but I ended up finding this idea from the dollar store. They have these pom-poms that you can that are just pom-poms, and they're sorry, it's a little smushed, but you can pull it apart into a ball and then hang the streamers and bubble wrap and things from the bottom. So it becomes like a jellyfish, and you can make, put all the jellyfish in. I'm going to put them in the window in our teen space, and we're going to have a bloom, which is what a group of jellyfish is called. And it's going to decorate our teen space windows really nicely. And I think that's a nice little decoration. Ideally, that would work best if you could hang it from your ceiling. And, you know, not every library can do that, but if you can, that would be great for that craft. And for that decoration, for my last decoration, this is just a small scale version of what I'm gonna do, but it's pool noodle coral. So I have some curly Q pool noodles cut up and some streamers, and I'm holding it together right now with a wire hanger. And I'm planning, and so it's right now kind of a little bit self-contained, so I can carry it with me to the workshops. But I plan on using bigger pieces of styrofoam and more noodles, and using it as a decoration, either at the circulation desk or the children's library desk, or even the teen space if I have room. And sorry, I forgot to, so those might be my decoration ideas. I have, I have a few craft ideas that I have examples of with me right now. Ideally, the crafts could be for children or teens, and some of them can be adapted for adults. So one of my first craft ideas that I have is my little no-sew octopus friend. I actually use this as an upcycle craft, and I used an old t-shirt instead of going to Michael's and buying any more fabric or anything like that. So I used an old t-shirt that I was going to donate to Goodwill, and a tennis ball as his little head, googly eyes, and all sorts of gems and stuff that I had in the library. I didn't spend any money on this craft. If you want it to be a little bit softer, you could do cotton balls, or you could do like the stuffed animal, like the stuffing if you make a teddy bear kind of thing. And so these are so it's just a cute, unfortunately my little friend here is a little bit top heavy because of the tennis ball inside, but he lies flat, and it's a nice little craft. Someone in the chat just asked, did you use a template for the squid head and cardstock? I did not use cardstock at all. The squid head is I literally just took a tennis ball and wrapped the t-shirt around. I just cut a big square of t-shirt and then put the tennis ball inside and then wrapped it that way. But I will be including all of the templates and all of the different examples you can do. You could also do this with different colored yarn and make it really pretty. But I will plan on doing all the variations, and I will be including all of the variations on the website that Sharon mentioned. Oh, the green paper squid. I'm sorry, not the octopus squid. So that one of my teen volunteers drew. Okay, 1 second. Sorry, everyone. So for the paper squid, one of my volunteers actually drew it freehand by looking at a picture of an octopus, but I will be including some templates for the squid head in the instructions, and then you could vary it to based on whatever size paper you have and whatever. The for the pool noodles come spiraled. No, the pool noodle did not come spiraled. I had a volunteer and myself actually cut them. I have the way you would, I have it, another one right here, and you cut it on an angle and then you cut it down. I will be including the information and links to how to cut the pool noodle in the spirals. There's a YouTube video and a couple of instructions somewhere else that I'll include on my instructions. So another couple of things that I've seen in the manual this year is all sorts of different beading and jewelry making ideas. So one of the ideas I saw in the CSLP manual was paper beads and paper bracelets. some paper beads out of old paper. And then a couple of other beading. I only have examples for the paper beads, but another one was going to be like a seashell resin jewelry. I didn't have time to make that one because the resin took longer to dry than I thought, and then it cracked. It was a whole situation. But anyway, so here are some of the paper beads that I came up with. This is from an old copy of Percy Jackson that was falling apart. This one's from scrap paper, and some more scrap, some more oh, what is that? Scrapbooking paper. The little thin one was wrapped around a Q-tip with one of the cotton ends cut off. The thicker ones were cut off, were wrapped around a pen or a straw. And then we just roll them in Elmer's glue when they set, and you can make a bracelet or a necklace out of these, this cute little upcycling craft. And this can be altered for any ages, because if the little ones can wrap it around a pen or a straw, and the teens and adults can wrap it around the Q-tip or a toothpick. The toothpick is really hard to do. I don't have any, because it was really hard for I didn't have the fine motor skills to do it, but some adults and teens might be able to. And then I'll be including all of all the jewelry crafts, even the ones I don't have examples for. Another craft idea that I will be posting, but I don't have the example of, is a wine cork crab, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. That's great for adults or teens, if you don't mind having teens work with wine cork animals. And you could make them like a cork board, or you can make them a little figurines, but they'll all be on the website. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was that this summer's theme really yields well to all of the oldies but goodies programs, like escape rooms, mermaid spa nights, soap and bath bombs, and you could do escape rooms, I think I already mentioned. And if you do escape rooms, you can also modify it so that you're doing a break-in bag, not just an escape room, because I know it's really popular if you want to do grab and go crafts and things like that. And interactive movies are really popular. My tab is helping me write an interactive script for Finding Nemo. So I'll be putting that up as well. And I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions before I pass this on? Well, thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you found some things you will like to use, and I'm going to pass it on to Jerry.
Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, hang on a second.
Jerry, you're muted.
How's that?
It's good, but Jerry, you're sharing your sharing your screen. I don't know if you meant to do that.
I thought I was supposed to.
Not yet, not
No.
unless you're,
Yeah, not unless
Okay,
you're
is this
showing
better?
something on your computer. Yep.
yeah, otherwise
perfect.
you're fine.
Okay.
Yep.
So again, I'm Jerry Tomaszewski. I'm a library assistant at the Rockaway Borough Public Library. I have some crafts to show you for the young kids as well as teens and adults. My first craft is a pool noodle sailboat, which I made with just cutting off about a 1.5 inch piece of pool noodle. We had some leftover pool noodles. And what you do is you just get a pencil and dig a hole in the front. And I took a flexible straw, a bendy straw, which I cut the bendy part off of, and simply just going to poke that into the hole. Then I took some craft foam and I cut it into a rectangle. This one has a triangle. And then the kids can just decorate it with some stickers. And you just thread it onto the, oops, sorry. You thread it onto the straw, and this sailboat is ready to sail. And you can use it in a pool or the bathtub or a bucket of water. So these are just two examples of my pool noodle sailboats. Then I also, and you don't even need glue for this craft. So this is quick and easy for the kids to make, and like 2 and up would be perfect for this craft. I also made some pool noodle fish. So these are my pool noodle fish. If you can see these guys. So this one I did use glue because I put some googly eyes on it. But again, I just cut the pool noodle into about a 1.5 inch piece. I took an X-Acto knife and cut slits into the sides for the fins and a tail in the back. I used a Sharpie to decorate it. I wouldn't use a washable marker because in the water it might run off. You can also use the Sharpie to make eyes, so just in case the water lets the glue come loose. But that's the only thing that is glued on this craft. I just want to give you a little note. When you make your slit with the X-Acto knife, you're best off putting your appendages in immediately because sometimes it has a tendency for the slit to disappear. It's hard to see because it kind of just suctions back together. But that's another quick and easy craft for the pool, for a bucket of water, your bathtub. So that's my pool noodle, fish, and sailboats. My next craft is a diving dolphin craft. For this, I took 2 plates, a blue, dark blue, and a light blue plate. And on the dark blue, I just traced some waves on the back and cut this out. Now, if you cut it carefully enough, you can use that for 2 crafts. So in the end result will look like this. So I'm going to get my light paper plate and glue on a cutout of a dolphin on one side. And then on the opposite side, I glued on clouds. You can also do a sun, maybe some birds and a cloud. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to take a knife or a little hole puncher to get a hole in the center of the plate and the cutout waves, and then attach it with a metal fastener because we want this to be able to spin. So your end result is going to look like this, and then my dolphin is going to dive into the water, and then when you spin it, you'll see your clouds or your sun or your birds, and then he pops back up, and he's just diving in the ocean. Again, an easy craft to do. The adults just have to cut out the parts, but it's good for 2 and up, and that's it for my dolphin diving. My next craft is a 3D aquarium or 3D under the sea. So for this craft, I took a clear Chinette plate and then traced it over blue cardstock or blue construction paper. Trace it and cut that out, and then cut some waves on the top. This I'm going to glue to a white piece of cardstock or whatever color you want. And then we're going to decorate the water. So what I did is I recycled some paint chips, or you can use construction paper or cardstock, and I cut out some seaweed and a castle and glued that on top. Now you can use flat stickers to put in here because once the clear glass is over, it'll look 3-dimensional. But in the dollar store, I did find some 3-dimensional fish. So I can add that to my water. After that's done, we're going to put glue around the blue water and place our plate on top. And then we're going to put stickers on top of that. So the end result will look like this. And it looks 3-dimensional, whether you use the 3D. I'm sorry, trying to get this without too much glare. I'm sorry. So it looks 3-dimensional. You have your fish and your seaweed and your castle on the inside and more fish on the outside. It makes it pop. Okay, so that's number 3, and I have one more for you. My next craft is a fish art canvas. For this, I am using a plain art canvas that I got from the dollar store. Yes, I love the dollar store, even though it's $1.25 now. So this one is a flat 8x10. You can also get the one that has the wood background with the stretch canvas on it. And you're going to make a fish template. And obviously the template will have to be as big as your canvas. If you're making it this size, you can do a full sheet of paper. And if you're making a smaller one, you just have to adjust accordingly. So I printed a goldfish or just a fish on a cardstock. And on the flip side, I did a shark. So the kids can decide which one they want to cut out. And so after they cut it out, we're going to recycle magazines. So I'm sure everybody has magazines to recycle. And I cut out colorful pages. I just ripped out a page and cut it in 4 squares. I picked some colorful ones. And we're going to take each of the papers and roll it around a pencil. So we're going to make a bunch of rolls because we have to fill up the fish. So we're going to roll it around a pencil. Sorry. And then we're going to either glue it or make it a tight roll. I'm just doing it loose. Sorry. We're going to glue it or tape it. And we need a bunch of these. So I have a whole bunch of rolls here. And we're going to get our Elmer's glue or glue all, or the teens can actually, or the adults can actually use a hot glue gun. Don't use a glue stick. I don't think it'll stick as well. We did this craft for 11 and up. It was a take-home craft last year where I did a bear, and I'll show you that later. But the glue all or hot glue works best. So we're going to put glue all over the back of the fish. And then we're going to take our pieces of rolled paper and fill up the fish with the rolled paper. Now, don't worry if the pieces stick over the fish. Once this dries, and you need to get it to dry really well, we're going to get our scissor and cut out the outline. So we're going to trim all of this. Another tip is if you did use tape, just try to roll it so that the tape isn't directly on the glue, because sometimes when it dries, it has a tendency to pop out. That's why the hot glue gun works the best. But this will dry well, and it won't pop as much if you let it dry well and then cut it. And if little pieces fall off, don't worry about it. You can always just glue them back on, and then you might need some of the little cut pieces for maybe the tail or the nose or the fin. So the end result with that is going to look like this. So here's my fish, and that's what I cut out. Now with the shark, I did newspaper because I wanted to have the gray look of a shark. So I'm going to show you my completed shark first. Oh, so once this is dry, we're going to glue it onto canvas. And this is my end result of my shark. So it gives it a 3D effect, pops out. It's really cool. Like I said, 11 and up, teens, adults, anybody can make this. It's just a cutting that's a little difficult. For my fish, I decided to paint my canvas first. So this is the end result with my fish with the painted canvas. So I just mixed some green and blue paint, painted it, put some little silver bubbles here. Again, you want to let the paint dry good before you glue your template on it. So here's my shark without the painted canvas. Sorry, I hope I'm showing this okay. And then this is the fish with the painted canvas. So those are my 4 crafts. So again, I had my canvas art. I had the 3D aquarium, the diving dolphin, and then also my pool noodle fish and sailboat. So I hope you like my presentation. I hope you can take back some of these ideas to use at your own library with your own kids. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Jerry, you said you were going to show the bear. Do you have it?
Oh, yes, let me show you the bear. This was the bear we did last year for Tails and Tales, and it was really popular. It was a grab and go last time, but this time I think we're going to do it in-house now that the mask mandate is lifting. So that's the bear. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, next is Heather.
Okay, good morning again, everyone. Hope everyone is doing all right. You've had your coffee, your tea, and we're ready to go here. I have a few different ideas for you. I am not naturally as crafty as some of the other people on this committee, but I did my best, and I hope some of these things will spark an interest that you either try yourself or do something similar. So the first thing we are going to talk about is an upcycled beach bag that is made out of a produce mesh bag. When we go to the grocery store, everything from onions to apples to garlic to potatoes usually come in a plastic mesh bag. And so we are going to turn it into, I know it's a little difficult to see on screen, a cute little bag that you can take to the beach. I think this will be very popular, in particular with tweens and teens. It is beach friendly from the standpoint of when you go to the beach, sand gets everywhere. However, you can just sort of shake it out because it is mesh. So the idea for what you need for this is one of these produce mesh bags. And so the two examples, the one that I just held up and the one that I'm going to sort of make as we're talking, is a 3-pound bag of onions. You could definitely do this with a bigger bag or with a smaller bag if you wanted. So with this, what you want to do is you're going to cut off, there's the 2 little metal divots that are usually on the ends. So I cut one off on one side. I took a piece of yarn and I wove this back and forth about 1 inch down or so, because it will start to unravel as time goes on. So you want to go all the way around. And when you have made it all the way around, I encourage you to stretch this as far as it can go and decide how long do you want your string to be for your handle, because it will, you only need a little bit to have it all the way together. So you're going to cut that and then you can either braid these ends, you can knot them, however you want to do that. You will also need this is the lid from an 18 ounce oatmeal container. But any sort of plastic lid, this is a 4. So in my community, we do not recycle anything other than 1s and 2s. And we also can't recycle these produce mesh bags either. It's just not the kind of plastic that my township recycles. So this is a nice way to keep plastic out of the ocean. So there's a great educational opportunity here to work in when you're doing this program. You're going to want to make a little X in the middle. I used an X-Acto knife. Just to make a little X. So you want to be able to not completely put your finger through, but you want to be able to put something through. That other metal divot, if your produce bag does not have these, you might just want to tie it at the end. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip this so the lid, the lip part is pointing upward, and you're just going to push this through. And so it will stay. You're going to flip this around. And then you can tie it. And that is it. You don't need any glue. You don't need any tape or anything like that. It's a fairly simple craft that I hope your teens like. Okay, so there's the environmentally friendly part. Does anyone here like puffy paint as much as I do? I know last week when we presented in Livingston, it was a hit. So I'm going to talk about a couple different things you can do with puffy paint, which I loved as a kid and I still like as an adult. So the first thing, I live on the west side of New Jersey, so I am as far away from the Atlantic Ocean as you can really get for where I live in the state. However, I've always loved the beach. And so in going for years and years and years throughout my life, I've always collected shells and rocks and different things. And so I was thinking of different things that we could do with shells. And so the examples I have here are all things I've collected, although you can buy shells on Amazon in your local craft store. So the idea is we're sort of pimping out our shells here. So here's one that has not been painted at all. This is something I did go and wash these because they've been sitting in my backyard for a while. So I painted this shell with an acrylic paint pen, which I'm going to hold up that in a minute. You could do this with regular either watercolor or acrylic based paint. I was just trying to do it as mess free as possible. So I went on Amazon and I got, these are acrylic paint pens. Out of the box, they look like this. You just shake them They have a tip. It literally is drawing like you would with a pen. They were very mess free and they dried very, very quickly. It was only a couple of minutes and they were completely dry on the surface. And then also from Amazon, although you can get this from Michael's, any craft store, I went and got Tulip is the puffy paint brand that we all know. And so this is their party pack. This is both their neon and regular variety. And so I just drew on here. Once again, I know it's difficult to see online. There's a nice tactile component to this. This is something younger kids could do with some supervision, but this is also something adults who are really into art and would like to make something, or teens might really get into the idea of this. And so you just have a nice little 3D component with this. And these are a lot of fun to do. So one of the other things you can do with puffy paint, when I was a kid, I really liked making window clings and then sticking them up all over my house. And so I was thinking, how could we possibly do that this year? And what I came up with, I went to Pixabay, which if you've never heard of that is PIXABAY.com. It's sort of like Flickr or iStock or iPhoto, that it's a place where people can upload either clip art or photos that they have taken. You do not have to attribute, but of course, we work in libraries, so I encourage you to attribute where you are getting this work. But they have a variety of different clip art, all sorts of different photographs. So I just collected a few different ocean themed clip art. So we've got a couple sea stars, which are not actually we call them starfish, but they're not actually fish, they are sea stars. Here's a tail. It could either be a mermaid tail, could be a whale's tail, and then there's a little squid and a shark here. I put these all together on Canva, but you could do it on Word, any processor. Printed it out and then put this inside a 1 gallon Ziploc bag. And then you can just draw with the puffy paint right on there. It's not going to stick to the paper because it's going to stick to the plastic. This morning when the committee was all getting sorted together, we were talking about, things that happened last week, things could be improved. And one of my colleagues asked me, how long does it have to dry? And, do kids have to take it home wet? And I said, probably when I do this summer, what I will do is instead of having several images on a, one piece of paper in a big bag, I probably will make a couple of copies in a smaller bag, like in a sandwich bag. So instead of having 7 or 8 different options, a kid will pick one, take that particular bag, draw that one, and then they can take that home, which is going to be easier to manage than an entire page here. So you want to let these dry for a couple of days. I let mine dry for a few days, probably 48 hours would be enough. But just so you see how it came out, here is the shark on my coffee mug. And here is, as my daughter says, you made a Squidward on my water that I use every day. I have washed this bottle multiple times in the few weeks it's been on here. It has not come off. So that aspect is adorable. So those things turned out really, really well, much better than I expected. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is something I did sort of talk about when I presented for this committee in the last cycle, but there's a slightly different spin on it. And these are called book bundles. These may be something you already have and you're already doing in your library, and that's awesome. If you have never heard of them, I think they're pretty neat. Basically, the idea here is to get stuff in your library that is not circulating as well as you would like it to, or things that are super popular and you would like to help patrons have an easier way to get to stuff, is to bundle things that are of a relevant theme or for a specific age group and have them available that patrons can just sort of grab and take them. So the idea here is you're using books that you already have in your collection, so you don't have to think about donations or where am I going to get this stuff. It's already stuff you have. And so you're going to need a big rubber band. Sometimes they're called X bands or H bands. I like them because they basically have 4 sides that you can wrap around. Sometimes just big regular rubber bands, things can fall through or they slip off, but having the 4 sides is nice. And I'll show you one of those in a moment. Depending on how big your books are, you can do anywhere from like 3 big hardcover adult books to 9 or 10, skinny picture books. And this isn't limited to books. You can also do your audiobooks, your nonfiction. Please think of your nonfiction. If your library is like my library, the nonfiction does not circulate as much as we would like it to, but it's all good stuff. And this theme this year, the Oceans of Possibilities, this is really a good opportunity to, in a very non-pushy way, educate our patrons on a variety of different topics related to the ocean. And whether we like it or not, we are gatekeepers, and here's a way to be a force for good. When you are putting these together, I highly encourage you to think of the diverse creators that make up your collection, your BIPOC creators, your queer creators, your neurodiverse creators. There's so many different things here. So I'm going to show you a couple examples of these. And so the first one here is 3 adult nonfiction books. And I also neglected to mention, so here I will take this off. So here's what I mean by an H band or an X band. I've seen them sold both ways. It's basically 2 rubber bands with little things on 2 sides. And so it has a nice 4-way part. You also are going to want an index card or something to be able to say what your topic is. And then it also says adults under there for the age group. And so the first one here is sharks. So there's 3 nonfiction books here. This is about true story of obsession and surviving among America's great white sharks. And since we are in New Jersey, we are going to definitely take advantage of the fact that there is the 1916 series of shark attacks. I imagine a lot of libraries in New Jersey have this close to the shore book, close to shore. And then this is one of Peter Benchley's books. He is probably most famous for writing Jaws. Although, quick PSA, Peter Benchley spent much of the latter half of his career involved with a lot of different environmental stuff, particularly combating the nature and the idea and the fear that great white sharks have associated with them because of things like Jaws. So I do not encourage you to, I know Jaws is going to be very popular this summer. It is. It's the ocean, and people love that movie. However, Peter Benchley felt very bad about the rep that he sort of helped give great white sharks, and so he spent a lot of time and wrote a lot of nonfiction books trying to rectify some of that. So he wrote a number of other books like this one called Shark Trouble that does not paint great white sharks as evil, horrible, man-eating predators. So this is one example for adults. So if you have adults who are interested in sharks, this is something that you could just sort of have out on top of one of your shelving on a display. And the idea is that a patron can come over, they can grab the whole bundle and say, oh, this is great, awesome, I'll take all of them. They can take them up to Cirque. In my library, I'm not intending to have like a special display note or anything other than to say they are on display. And sort of a patron can take all of them, they can take 1 or 2 of them, and then anything that they don't want can either just go back out into circulation, and we will be keeping the bands and the little note saying what it is. So I want to go over another one here. So this is one of the teen bundles that I created. And so this says mermaids. And so there's a bunch of books here. The Magic Fish. This was a great diverse graphic novel for teens that came out, I think, last year. It has a number of different fairy tales juxtaposed with a number of different things. This was The Girl from the Sea, which also came out last year or the year before. This is a sequel to A Song Below Water. This is A Chorus Rises by Bethany C. Morrow. The sequel is in the bundle because I cannot keep the first book in the series on the shelf. It's constantly out. And so then there's also 2 DVDs here. One of the seasons of H2O, Just Add Water, and then also The Little Mermaid. I also would like to remind you that just because it is quote unquote for kids doesn't mean that teens and adults are not going to go all nostalgic about it. So there are plenty of teens that will still like to watch Little Mermaid. There are plenty of adults who will remember The Little Mermaid. I was 1 when The Little Mermaid came out. I very fondly, remember watching this, and it's definitely something I would not take out just because it's a kids movie. I've got one more example here. This one does not have, the theme for this one is just called Beach Day. And this is a variety. I said on here the age group for this was 0 to 5. So in here there is Reading Rainbow, which is still super popular at my library. 2 books about the ocean, and Ty's Travels, and 2 books about the beach, featuring BIPOC main characters and authors. These are both very, very cute, easy reader books. Splash Bee in the Sea is also, this is set at the beach. This is also a very, very cute book about an older crusty guy and the little girl who, you know, warms his heart a little bit, whether he wants her to or not. Featuring me, Girl and Her Whale, because we all need a book about a girl and her whale. A Beach Day. And then this is one of my favorite books that came out a couple of years ago called The Tide. And this is about a girl and her grandfather who is developing Alzheimer's or dementia. It's not particularly specified, but it is a cute, you know, age-appropriate way to introduce the concept of, you know, grandpa's forgetting your name, or he's forgetting his keys, or he's forgetting stuff, and what exactly that means and how they bond over watching the tide. This is a very, very cute book. So that is all I have. Thank you very much for listening. I hope if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I do see the chat is here. When I'm done talking or during the break, I will go through and answer some of these questions. So I hope I've inspired you to do some great things this summer. I hope everyone has a fantastic summer reading program.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, so thank you to Rachel, Jerry, and Heather. Fantastic ideas. We are going to take, let's just take a few minute break. We'll be back at 11. So if you want to just like stretch your legs, grab something, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat room. We will answer them as we go along. So yeah, so let's just take about an 8-minute break and we'll meet back here at 11. Okay, thanks. You have any questions? We'll still monitor the chat room, so ask some questions and we'll answer them. Okay, we're gonna start in about 1 minute, so if anyone wants to come back, settle in. Okay, it's 11 o'clock, we're gonna start. Hopefully everyone will be back. So the next one we're gonna do is Lisa, who is also on the committee, but is not with us today, so I am going to share her video. As soon as I- there it is. 1 second. There we go.
You my thoughts about the ocean of possibilities. Yay! It's the ocean this summer. I'm really excited. The first thing I think of all the time when I'm thinking of a theme for work is crafts. I have 4 crafts that I'm going to share with you today. The first one is by far my favorite, and it's a no-sew project. It can be good for anywhere from kindergartners up through 5th grade. It is a little axolotl. Axolotls are little salamanders that live in rivers in Mexico, and they have little smiley faces on most of the time when you see pictures. I used gossamer fabric that is kind of the consistency of tote bags, and it's great. You can draw any pattern on it that you want. Cuts out really easy and then glues together really easy with Elmer's glue. So you stuff it, you glue the 2 sides together, and then you have your little stuffed little friend, and you can add some googly eyes, and he absolutely needs a smile. So that is my axolotl. The second craft I would like to share with you today, which I thought was super cute, is jellyfish in a bottle. You can use straws, and you cut off the, if you can see there, they have little eyes on them, and they're made out of straws and googly eyes and paper clips. And when you squeeze the bottle, what's fun is they go up and down and up and down and up and down. Endless hours of fun. So what I used to make this was just a recycled water bottle and some straws we had hanging around. You cut off the little expander part, and you add some googly eyes, and the paper clips make a little paper clip chain, and you just stick them on in there. I use some hot glue to reinforce and hold the straw together while it's in the bottle, but you fill up the water all the way, and then you can squeeze it, and they go up and down or most of the time. You squeeze it in the right place. So that's my second craft. My third craft I found that I want to share with you is something I've done quite a few times. It is our own little seascape aquarium. As you can see, I have 3 little fish in here and some rocks and a plant. And these are my little fish and my own little seascape. I like to use glycerin in there to keep the water clean. Otherwise you kind of have to, it gets cloudy and you have to change it out. The fish are, and the plants are purchased from Amazon. You can see the links above. And the rocks, I just got a bunch of bags of rocks from Dollar Tree, and they're the perfect size. And the fish have fishing line wrapped around them, and then it's hot glued to the lid. And there you go, your little seascapes. My last craft, which is also going to be one of my decorations for this summer, is a jellyfish lantern. And let me get the little guy there. You just use the little lanterns. You can get them from Oriental Trading or Amazon or anywhere, and you glue some eyes on there and a mouth. I made him a little anthropomorphic because everything needs eyes and a mouth because it makes it cuter. And on the bottom, this is a great dexterity craft. I made some hole punches in the bottom ring and then tied a bunch of just ribbons hanging from the bottom. And then I'm going to make a little jellyfish garden in one of the alcoves we have, as well as do it as a take-home craft. So those are the crafts that I would like to share with you. The next thing I think about are programs. First program I am gonna talk to you about today is 3D designing your very own sea creature and then having it printed out. For those of you who have 3D printers in your library, this is an awesome opportunity to delve into the imagination of your patrons and see what possibilities they can come up with. Tinkercad is the program that I normally use, and as you can see up in the top corner, I have a little fish creature that I put together, and I have worked with kids as young as first, second grade to all the way up to 18 with using Tinkercad. For those of you who are familiar, it has a very easy interface. If not, it also is free for your library. If you've never used it before, it has lessons in the Learn tab where you can jump in and teach yourself before you work with the kids. The next program that I am going to talk to you about today is a compilation of different stations in my underwater adventure. So the first activity that the kids come in and do is they make blobfish slime, because who doesn't love slime? And who doesn't love blobfish? They're gross and squishy, and you get to put eyes in them. So as you can see above, our blobfish slime that we make. And then the second station is a sea star station where we learn about the different sea stars under the ocean and different facts about them and different things. And then we shape our own sea star out of either you can use polymer clay, or I tend to make salt dough all the time because you can bake it in the oven. Then the third station we go to is a virtual reality underwater adventure. There are a lot of different appropriate under the water, under the ocean 360 videos that you can find on YouTube for free. All you need is a $5-10 Google Cardboard headset and somebody's cell phone, and you're good to go. You can see the links to all those things up above. I have a couple of different videos that I found that work really well for my kids. Then the fourth thing that I will be adding to our underwater adventure program this year is our microscope and making slides to look for tardigrades, because they're water bears. And I'm going to get all sorts of scummy water from all the ponds around town and go to the ocean and get some water And then we're gonna make some slides and stick them under the microscope and check it out. The third thing I'd like to talk to you about today is decorating, because I love decorating and I went to art school and I love to turn our room into a giant installation. The first thing I'll show you is something that I did last year and we'll be repurposing again this year. We have some little box windows along the top of some of our picture books, and I turned them, as you can see in the pictures above, into little aquariums. Each aquarium had some paper fish and some seashells and some plants. And then each box was covered over with cellophane, blue cellophane. I had decorating. I had some teen volunteers. Decorating is a wonderful opportunity to get your teen volunteers involved, especially if they need some hours towards the end of the year, and you can plan ahead. You can have them put together all your decorations for you. The next thing, as I mentioned before, is I am going to make a jellyfish garden, and I'm gonna have the teens make a bunch of these little guys out of the paper lanterns and hang them from the ceiling in one of our alcoves. The next decoration idea I saw on Pinterest. I'm going to show you the picture up above. I am going to, along with a bunch of my teen volunteers, make these little coral centerpiece things and put them on top of the shelves where our fiction and early fiction and stuff are, just to jazz up the space and incorporate it all together. I'm going to use cardboard as the base and then use this foam insulation called Great Stuff, which you can buy at Home Depot. It's $5 a can. It's very sticky, so wear gloves. And it will make the wonderful coral crunchies that you can see up above in the picture, and some pool noodles and some plants and things, and we're going to stick them all together and make about 5 or 6 of them to put on top of the shelves. And then the last idea I want to do, I'm excited about, as you can see in the picture up above, we're gonna make a polar universe and make some penguins and out of soda bottles and some plaster of Paris. And we are going to make a little winter wonderland and have the penguins running around on top of the shelves. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the things that I have thought up for the ocean of possibilities. I am really looking forward to seeing everybody's ideas from this summer, and I can't wait to see everybody in person. All right, take care. Bye now.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, our next person up is Monica.
Hello. Again, I'm from the East Hanover Library. I'm the children's librarian, and I am really excited about the theme of Oceans of Possibilities. I am coming from a school background, so a lot of my stuff got excited because I was like, oh, there's so much STEM. So one of the things that occurred to me was sea glass. And this actually comes from Michael's, and that information will be provided. But I thought, oh my gosh, sea glass is glitter in the ocean. And it originally came from the ocean because that's what glass is sand. And I thought all the different possibilities we could do with sea glass and introduce STEM programs. So the sea glass that I got here, again, came from Michael's. And if you use the coupon, the 20% coupon or the 25% coupon, if you're lucky, I got this for about $3. So that was pretty good, but you can get it from Amazon, Walmart, Hobby Lobby. Caution, if you get it from Amazon, don't be fooled and end up getting, which is really beautiful, the colored glass. You also want to make sure when you do get the sea glass that you are getting the ones that have the smooth edges. Let me show you that too. They do polish it, especially if you're working with the little ones. Some of the other mediums that I'm using are sand. Now, you used to be able to get this relatively cheaply from Oriental Trading. However, it's not that cheap anymore. The cheapest I found it was on Amazon, and you can get 11 pounds, which are various colors, about 10 of them, for $33. And I thought that was pretty good. What I'm going to do though with that, when I do hand it out to the kids, is I'm going to put it in little baggies, and then I clip the end, so when they do get ready to use it, we're not wasting a lot of the sand. The last medium is shells. Now, this came from the Christmas tree shop. It was, again, relatively cheap. So all these different shells. I focus mostly on the younger crowd. However, I am going to tell you how you can make your crafts a little more intricate and larger so that you can do it for the older kids, teens, and adults. So first thing I'm going to start with are my younger ones. And this is sand and shell. And some glitter. If I can turn down my lights a little bit. So I just printed up a picture, added some mermaids, a treasure chest, and had them glue on some shells, different types of shells, which again, a stem, you can have them figure out what shells come from different parts of the world, and some sand. And again, I used the glue. This is glue stick. Spread it on there. Now you might want to have them color it or even paint it. I'm not a good colorer, so I just did it plain. Here is another example. And this is just basically sand. I really thought in my mind I was going to use the sea glass on this and put the little chips in the treasure, but it's way too heavy. I guess unless you're planning on mounting it, that might work. For the sea glass specifically, what I would do is spread out the sea glass and let the kids decide what they want to make with the sea glass. What does their imagination see? So when I was looking up how to do this, they had suggested the silicone, and that really didn't work well for me. I'm going to show you all of it, but I'm just going to show you. This is the silicone. And it was really wobbly, did not work well. I tried Gorilla Glue, I tried Crazy Glue. The very best thing that worked for me was the hot glue gun. And of course, you can get these at the Dollar Tree, or the $1.25 tree, and it's colored glue sticks. They're small, and you can use the low temperature glue gun. So what I'm going to do is have the kids just basically spread it out and let them decide what they want to make. So hopefully you can see this. I think you can. So either it's a turtle or it's a flower. I love this one. This is my little narwhal. This is my attempt at a fish. This is what my grandson made. This one was when I was testing out the glue gun and I realized I didn't need to put that much glue on it. I love this little turtle. And I got fancy because I saw this the other day. This was only 99 cents at Michael's. So again, I just took the hot glue gun and put the pictures around. Now I saw in some books, and I'll show you a specific book, they use Mod Podge, I think I'm saying that correctly, and they filled it in. So it was like all the way across. This I'm a little more natural, just stick it on there. For my next craft, sorry, I disappeared. I like wind chimes. So if you go to Florida or other places, you'll see that there are lots of seashell wind chimes. So this is just a little version. And you can buy these again at Michael's. They're just the round disc for Hobby Lobby. And I ended up attaching it with just, again, glue gun. And I put little things on the back so it wouldn't look as messy. I first started off with layering this with sand. Again, I just used the glue stick and then stuck it on with the hot glue gun. And this is stuck on the back with a glue gun again. And I thought if my older kids wanted to do this, I could buy the hoops, the embroidery hoops, which I'll show you my first attempt at that. The other one is doing a mixed medium. I put the sand on first, but I started with the top by putting the glue and then try to do what I thought would look like a sunset. And then I put the sand at the top, then worked my way down. Punched holes in it. And again, hot glue gun is wonderful. I just did this. I did put little pieces of the shell on the back to kind of hide it and make it look a little more neater, but I don't think anybody would mind. And again, I like wind chimes. So in my mind, I thought, okay, what if I had teens? What about doing something where they could do it, which is going to be more costly? Again, the embroidery isn't expensive, the hoop. And I'm just starting this. We'll see how it goes. I'm adding the glue sticks, again, hot glue gun. I was thinking I might get a smaller one and put that in the middle. So maybe I'll put a picture of it on the website. We'll just have to see how that works out. Okay, the other thing I was thinking about were for adults, and I did not do them, but I just want to show you some pictures. This looks pretty easy to do, a tea light. And again, the adults could use a hot glue gun on that. This is quite lovely. A better version of what I did for my children. And of course, I want to tie it with books. Heather gave us some great ideas for books. So I want to show you some books I found. And this will be up on our Pinterest. The sea glass craft. A lot of great ideas, and you can see that's quite beautiful. The journey of the sea glass, which would really tie into STEM programming. This is an adult book, and Anita Schreiber, she also does a book about sea glass as her background. This book just came out. Poem of Wishes. Oops, sorry. Let me see if I missed anything. Sea Glass Summer by Michelle Holtz. The Rainbow Fish, Finders Keepers, that has a sea glass in it with a rainbow fish finds it. And there's so many other possibilities. Chalkboard, you could get chalkboard and have the kids do the sea glass or the shells around that. There's the beads, the sea glass beads. They might already have the holes in them. I was looking for a little drill and I thought I had found one, but it wasn't what I wanted. Or maybe I could put the holes in it. And then again, that would really work well with my wind chime idea. So I'm still working on that, but I hope that these were inspiring to you. And again, lots of possibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Next up is Suzanne.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Suzanne from the East Brunswick Library. I have a few craft ideas that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm just showing you a quick overview, but I'm also putting more detailed instructions, supply lists, templates on the Summer Reading website. And for the templates for any of these projects, you just print them at 100% and they'll be the correct size for the project. So the first project I want to share with you, let me see if I can get him on the screen completely, is Mr. Seahorse. He is obviously based on the Eric Carle book. And this is a cute preschool or early elementary craft that would be fun, I think, for teen volunteers to prep and then present to younger kids. So for each seahorse, let me just rearrange myself here. You need to cut out a head and a back fin from cardstock. And then you also need a seahorse body made from a paper plate. Okay, you're just going to use a glue stick to collage tissue paper squares onto the seahorse's body. And you want to glue onto what would have been the bottom of the paper plate so that the seahorse's body is bulging towards you. It looks a little bit more three-dimensional that way. And if you have tissue paper sticking off the edge, you just fold it to the back, or you can trim it with scissors. And then you use a glue stick to attach an eye to your seahorse's head. And then glue the seahorse's head to the front of the body and the back fin to the back of the body. For take and make, you can have teen volunteers prep traced or pre-cut pieces. You can pack up the kits and include an instruction sheet that I'm going to post to the Summer Reading website. And this is a really easy project to modify for different age groups by prepping your materials more or less. For preschoolers in advance of the program, teen volunteers could cut out all the heads and the back fins and the seahorse bodies. Or if you're doing this with older kids, you can provide cardboard templates to let them trace and cut on their own, or you could have teen volunteers trace in advance and let the kids cut out the pieces. You might also want to give older kids crayons or markers to add details to their projects. But for any age group, I would recommend just having the tissue paper squares cut out in advance. Otherwise, it just tends to get very messy with the tissue paper squares all over the place. I'm sure you've all been there. So that is Mr. Seahorse. Next up, I have a project that I call Shell Creatures. And this is my original shell creature. Let me see if I can just turn him so you can see him completely. I made him about 10 years ago. He's my little buddy. He's been keeping me company on my desk all that time. This is a really fun open-ended project for kids around, I would say, first grade and up. I'll show you a few others. I love this project. You see that guy? There he is. I think she's a she, actually. I love this project because it's really easy to scale it up and down for different age groups, as well as to suit your own tolerance for making a mess. Paint is not necessary, but you can go there if you want to. Same for glitter. And my samples are pretty basic, but I always find the kids are going to be much more creative. So to begin with, you just have each kid select a shell. This is my shell for my sample today. And you want to give them a blob of Model Magic and have them roll it into a ball so it forms a base that's larger than the base of the shell. I can't really show you exactly how I would do it, but you take the ball of Model Magic and just press it gently into the table to make the bottom flat. Let me see, you can see that. And then you just press the shell, just stand it up into the Model Magic so it stands the way you'd like it to stand. So once you have something that looks like that, you just very gently pull the shell away from the Model Magic, and it's going to look something like this. There you go. And you're actually just going to put a little tacky glue on the Model Magic right in that indentation. And then gently but firmly just put the shell back in that spot and just allow it to dry standing up like that for a few minutes. Once it feels a little more solid, it is time to decorate it with craft materials. So you can add pom-poms and googly eyes like I did to this one. Again, just with tacky glue. I find that you just want to hold each piece in place with the tacky glue for maybe like 5 to 10 seconds so it really stays put well. You can also use pipe cleaners by just putting a little tacky glue onto the tip of the pipe cleaner. Kind of hard to see. There we go. And you just press it right into the Model Magic. You can kind of shape the pipe cleaner afterwards if you'd like to. Feathers work really well like that also, and they add a lot of dramatic flair. This shell creature is constantly brushing her hair out of her eyes. You can even add a pom-pom to a pipe cleaner like this, just by putting a little tacky glue onto the tip of the pipe cleaner and then gently pushing it right into the center of the pom-pom. Who knew, right? If you'd like, you can use markers or paint to add details to the Model Magic or to the shells. You can see I drew a little smirk on this shell creature. And the kids can bring their creatures home right away, as long as they know to be gentle with them until the Model Magic is dry the next day. And again, my samples are pretty basic. In addition to the supplies I just talked about, you can use glitter if you dare. You could use beads, which I think would look cool, like strung onto the pipe cleaners or even glued onto the bodies someplace. Sequins, gemstones, ribbons, fabric scraps. I feel like, anything that you think will stick with tacky glue or that could be inserted into the Model Magic would probably kind of like jazz these guys up. So let me just kind of get them out of my way so I can move on to my next project. The next one I'd like to show you are these fun activity spinners. So this is a little hard to demo vertically, but it kind of works just like a game board dial. There you go, see a little action there. It's a fun project, I think, to do with elementary school age kids, but it also works well as a family project that younger kids and their grown-ups can make together. And basically, you're kind of working on a project that becomes a toy in the end. So you give it a spin, you see what the pointer lands on, and then you do the activity that's indicated. I like this project because it really takes the kids through the process of thinking about the ocean and the creatures in it, crafting, and then engaging in a physical or dramatic activity. So the finished product can also help kids practice taking turns, which is always important. So you can start by showing the kids a basic sample of the project and having them think of different activities to include on their spinner. And those activities can be silly, they can be serious, they can relate realistically or imaginatively to the ocean theme. And just a reminder, if you do brainstorm for these activities as a group, please make sure to be mindful of various abilities. Not all of the activities have to be based in physical movement. So some of the ideas that I included on my spinner here are stretch like a sea star, wiggle like an octopus, balance like a surfer, sing like a whale, jump like a dolphin, blow like a pufferfish, walk like a crab, swim like a fish, clap like a seal, swish like seaweed, and pinch like a lobster. That's a whole list of things I never thought I'd be saying on a webinar. The templates for all of the pieces that you need will be on the website for you. So once the kids have their activities, just have them write down one activity in each wedge of the template and decorate the whole circle. I just colored mine, but I'm sure that they're going to want to draw pictures. Theirs will look much better than mine will. Then just have them cut out the circle and glue it to the bottom of a paper plate. And try not to flatten the plate too much because you do want the spinner to kind of like stand up on the table a little bit. And then using cardboard scraps, they're also going to make a pointer and a washer. And the templates for those are also on the website. If you want to take a look at mine again, my pointer is supposed to look a little bit like a surfboard. Not that you could tell, but now you know. So once they're done decorating those, then they can punch a hole in both the pointer and in the washer, just using a hole puncher. And then to assemble the spinner, you just put a brass fastener through the pointer, through the washer, and then poke it through the paper plate and open it up on the back. And a word to the wise, I have found that sometimes it's easier to poke the fastener through, since you're going through a little bit of glue as well as 2 pieces of paper. It's easier if you make a little hole sometimes with a push pin first. And then after that, you just give it a spin and kids can play by themselves. They can take turns spinning with a family member or with a friend. And my last idea for you all today is to make vision boards. So I think of this project as being geared towards tweens, teens, and adults, but you could probably even modify it to work with younger kids. And the slogan "Oceans of Possibilities" kept making me think of optimism, of hope for the future, goal setting, even career exploration. And I thought that creating vision boards would be a fun way to unite some of these themes into one project. It's also a project that uses recycled material, so you can relate it to environmentalism if you'd like to. And some ideas of materials you can use would be like old magazines. And yeah, this is actually the August 2005 issue of Highlights. Don't ask me why it's so pristine. Catalogs, discarded books that aren't in good enough condition to sell. You could use scrap paper, you could use old maps, which I think end up looking really great. If you have time during your program, you could take pictures of the participants and print them out. Scrapbooking paper always makes for a great background for a collage, so you can use some of that. Fabric scraps, stickers, basically anything that is flat enough that you could either adhere in some way, stick or glue onto a piece of paper. And here is one example that I made. Let me see if I can get it to really show on the whole screen here. Kind of not really. I was only trying to think like a 12-year-old and make a vision board that I thought kind of would resonate with that age group. But obviously, you know, if you were going to do this project, you would just make some samples that are geared towards the age group that you're working with. So you can start the program by showing a few examples of different vision boards. You can either make a few, or you can Google and just pull some up to show the kids different examples. And explain what a vision board is, that it can help you focus on your goals, that you can make a vision board and keep it on your desk, your nightstand, somewhere where you can look at it daily to remind you of what you're working towards. And then you can ask participants some questions to get them thinking about what's important to them, what they're interested in the future. So some prompts could include, what is important to you right now? What job do you hope to have one day? What are you good at? What would you like to be better at in the future? What words inspire you? What do you enjoy doing? Who do you look up to? What are some places you'd like to visit? How do you want to make the world better? And I'm going to have that whole list up on the summer reading website, probably with some other questions as well. So participants can discuss these questions out loud or with a friend, or they could just think about them privately, however you want to run the program. And then give each participant some cardstock or poster board. For a program like this, I always like to put on some quiet music just so it's not like awkwardly silent in the room, and then let them create. They can cut out meaningful symbols, affirmations, images, words, phrases, basically anything that represents their goals and their dreams, and then they can collage them together to make a statement about where they hope they're headed. They can also use markers, crayons, washi tape to add their own flourishes and text. And if they're comfortable sharing their finished projects, you can let them present them to the group, but no pressure. So that is everything for me today. I hope that some of these ideas resonate with you and your patrons. And thanks so much for attending today. I hope that everyone has a really great summer.
Thank you, Suzanne. There was a comment, the list of the activities that the kids can do, that will be included on the website as well, right?
Yes, like the activities for the activity spinner. Yeah, yep, I'll have some inspiration for you up there.
Perfect, thank you. All right, and our last presenter is Gina.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I am going to start with a 5-minute meditation. I'm going to invite you all to join me in. If you are sitting in a chair, please sit in an upright position, sitting symmetrically. Without it being uncomfortable, take a moment to allow your body to settle. Make sure your legs are uncrossed and both feet are firmly planted on the ground. I invite you to close your eyes to begin the journey within. And close your mouth so that you are only breathing through your nose. Begin to notice any areas that feel physically tight. Maybe that means relaxing your shoulders, wiggling your fingers or toes, loosening your jaw, softening the muscles around your eyes, or relaxing your belly. Close your mouth so that you're only breathing through your nose. Become entirely still so that the only thing moving is the air coming in and out of your nostrils. Notice how the air coming in is colder than the air coming out. Allow your breathing to be slower and more serene. Become entirely still so that the only thing moving is the air coming in and out of your nostrils. Take a moment to observe your current mood as if you are inspecting your emotions from the outside, as if the emotions were separate from your being. If at any time your thoughts stray, that's normal and it doesn't matter. Simply bring your attention back to the physical sensation of the cold air coming in and the warm air coming out. Without forcing anything, try to slow down your breathing. Progressively, the stream of air is becoming thinner and thinner. You're breathing slower and slower. Once again, if you lose your attention through thoughts, sounds, or physical sensations, it's normal and it doesn't matter at all. Simply bring your attention back to the cold air coming in and the warm air coming out of your nostrils. Continue breathing slowly, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. As you continue to breathe, I invite you to envision a cloud. The cloud is in front of you, slightly overhead, hanging in the air. Now, think about anything that is worrying you. Bring to mind any negative thoughts, anything that has you feeling stressed out. After you've gathered those thoughts, on your next exhale, picture all of those negative thoughts and worries leaving your mind and going into the cloud. Imagine all of those thoughts filling up the cloud. Now, when you picture the cloud is holding all of those negative thoughts. Now that all of your worries are in the cloud, on your next exhale, picture the cloud being carried away by a gust of wind, the cloud drifting away, each exhale pushing it further and further away. You see the cloud getting smaller and smaller as it travels until it's completely gone. Again, I invite you to inspect your mood as if from the outside, as if your emotions were separate from your being. When you're ready, begin to slowly come out of the meditation, slowly wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, start noticing the surrounding sounds and all of the colors around you. As you continue through our presentation and your day, try to keep the calmness around you that you might have felt during this meditation. And that's the end. How are we feeling? So that meditation I use to start my painting and meditation class. I teach watercolor painting as a form of meditation in the library. It's a great way to calm your mind. The kids love it so much, they've asked that I do it for other programs like book club, and pretty much anytime we get together, they're like, can we do the 5-minute meditation? So they really enjoy it. So for the painting part, the watercolor painting, my supplies, I have this, wait, let me shrink this down so I can see. This watercolor paint set, these are, you don't need, oh, colors around you look so much better. What a sweet comment, thank you. The supplies for the watercolor class are very inexpensive. These sets, when you buy them from craft stores, end up being around $1 each. And I usually buy paper, this Canton's watercolor paper. It's very inexpensive, and I even cut it down so I can get more from it. So this, I cut it down to this size. And for the Oceans of Possibilities, I created this kind of abstract watercolor ocean scene. And it's simple to do. The kids Actually, this works well for kids, teens, and adults. I've taught this class for all ages, but you just take a pencil and sort of squiggle lines across. And then with a limited palette with your watercolor paint, just fill in some of the shapes. And to change the values with watercolor, all you need to do is add more water. So the values of the blues look different, and the yellows and the sunset oranges and pinks. As you load up your brush with paint, you inhale, and as you paint along the lines, you exhale. It's super calming, lots of fun, and you get this pretty effect in the end. You get this pretty composition. And the next thing I want to talk to you about is making a bullet journal. So you can write down all of those ideas that Suzanne sparked from her vision board. I bullet journal. I don't know if you can see some of that. And again, the kids saw my journal, and I found a way to do it very inexpensively to recreate this dot grid. I don't know if you can see the dot grid paper, but they sell dot grid paper. And again, this will all be listed on the New Jersey Summer Reading.org website. They sell the dot grid paper separately, so it's unbound. And I just use some cardstock for the cover and these little clips to sort of clip them together to create a book. And that's a program. You can explore Bujo on Pinterest and YouTube and Instagram for inspiration. You can use layouts that inspire you. You can create monthly spreads, daily, yearly. It's I always say bullet journaling is like a mindfulness practice that's disguised as a productivity system. It's much more than a to-do list, and it allows you to reflect daily, monthly, and yearly. It's so much fun and really super simple to do. The next program that we have, we've been doing this a couple of times at the library, and it just fits perfectly with the summer theme this year. But there's a program called Skype a Scientist, and and you go to their website, and what it is, they are real scientists, and they meet with your patrons virtually. So this worked really well for us in the pandemic, when the kids weren't allowed in the library. But now that the kids are allowed in the library, we're still going to gather in person and have the scientist streamed in. And the Skype a Scientist mission is to make science accessible and fun through personal connections with scientists. So there is a code of conduct for the scientists and the librarians to follow. They suggest a $15 donation, but it's not required. So this can be a completely free program. In a couple of weeks, we have the professor of bioengineering at the University of Maryland presenting to our kids. She's going to talk about solutions to remove pollutions from our water systems. And I'm sort of like, we should have done that for the summer, but it's great to have now, but I'm sure we'll think of something else fun for you to do for summer. When you go to that website, you can request scientists from general categories such as marine biology or oceanography, ecology, conservation, environment. There's so many different topics, and you sign up and you're able to choose from a group of scientists. You can customize your request to different languages or there's lots of different ways to customize what you're looking for. They email you in about a week with a match, and then you connect via email, and it's the kids come up with some really great questions, especially if you prep them in advance. And it's just a really nice program and a really nice thing to do. And the last thing I want to talk to you about today is our summer reading skit. Now, when we met in person last week, I was able to pull volunteers from the audience, and we acted this skit out in person. And so we can't do that here. But what we've done for many years at our library is write a skit around the theme. And when we visit our schools, we have 6 elementary schools in Livingston, and when we visit each school and we perform the skit to promote summer reading, and the kids love it. It's silly and fun. I will have a copy of the skit that you can customize to your library on the New Jersey, the NJLA summerreading.org website. This year, it's around pirates, and the pirates are looking for treasure, and they find treasure where? At the library for summer reading. It's also a fun way to get other members of your staff involved. We've also had teachers act out with us and principals, and when we were in person, we would try to write a couple of parts for the kids to participate in. And the past 2 years and this year, we've recorded it. So those videos, if you're interested and want a good laugh, you can check out our videos at the Livingston Library's website on our YouTube channel. And I hope I said something to inspire you for the summer. I hope you all have a great summer reading program. And thank you for letting me share my ideas.
Thank you, Gina. All right, so that ends our presentation part. So if my committee can come back in. All right, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to add them in the chat right now. We'll stick around for a few minutes to see if there's any questions and we'll answer them. All this information will be presented to you on our website. It'll go live after the last workshop, which is the 21st down in Mullica Hill. So if you want to see us in person, you're more than welcome to sign up and join us. But yeah, so this recording is also this video is also being recorded. So if you want the link to this, we will send you that as well. Just drop us an email. So if there's any other questions.
And I'll just add that when the video is ready, to also go on the summer reading website.
Yes. So I want to say thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you to the presenters. You guys were fantastic. And I already have like a ton of ideas that I'm going to use for the summer. If there's no other questions,
I just want to say thanks, everybody. People have been saying some great things in the chat, and I think everyone appreciates all your hard work and ideas.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget to fill out the evaluation form if you have a chance. That way we can always improve.
Natalie, can you repost that in the chat for anyone who might have joined after the link was put up?
Yep. Give me a second.
Thanks.
Let me get back there. Come on. All right, I'll put it back into. Yep, there is our evaluation form.
Perfect.